Alright class, the last video here for chapter 7 deals with converting between the metric system and the US system. We're going to combine the two and convert between the two. And so again, just like the previous chapters or the previous sections, we have a conversion chart, and it tells us how the metric system converts to the US and how the US converts to the metric system. And so one thing I want you to notice is that at the top of each one, there's one that's specifically going from metric to US, and then the other side is going from the US to metric. So if you're converting from a metric unit to a US unit, you want to use the left column. If you're converting from a US unit to a metric unit, you want to use the right column. But as far as converting these, we're going to go back to the way we converted in section 7.1 using the unit fractions. And so let's go ahead and get started looking at some few example problems and see how they work. Alright, so here we have two problems for us. The first one says we want to convert 40 centimeters to inches. So just like previous, we're going to just start with what's given to us and we write it down. So 40 centimeters, if you want to make it a fraction, I recommend doing that, writing it over 1. Now we're going to multiply that by our relationship that takes me from centimeters to inches. So let's just go back to the first page and look. So we want centimeters to inches, and so we're going from a metric to a US unit. So we prefer to use the left column here, and so we've got the centimeters to inch here. So 1 centimeter is approximately, notice these little squiggly equal signs, that means approximate. It's not exact, it's an approximated value, but 1 centimeter is approximately 0.39, and so we're going to use that. So we know that we have 0.39 inches is approximately 1 centimeter. Okay, and so now what happens is our centimeters cancel, and so we just multiply. So we get 40 times the 0.39, and whatever that gives us, that turns out to be 15 approximately. Since we approximated, we're going to use approximately, so 15.6. We're in terms of inches now. Please do not forget to include your units. So 15.6 inches is equal or approximately 40 centimeters. All right, now we'll look at the second one. That says convert 145 pounds to kilograms. So again, start with what's given to us. So the 145 pounds over 1. Now we're going to multiply that times my relationship that takes me from pounds to kilograms. But now we're going from a US to a metric measurement, so we're going to go from pounds to kilograms, and 1 pound is approximately 0.45 kilograms. So 0.45 kilograms is approximately 1 pound. And so now we'll just multiply these two numbers together, 145 times the 0.45, and when we do that, that gives me a total of 65.25, but let's round so we get 65.25, and normally we round to the nearest tenth, and if you do that, you get 65.3 kilograms. Alright, so this would have been pounds would have canceled, and so we got 65.3 kilograms. So if you notice, these problems, they work exactly the same as the way we converted using unit fractions in 7.1, and even the way we converted using unit fractions in 7.2 and 7.3. You just start with what's given to you, multiply it by that unit conversion ratio that gets you to where you're going. And so not a whole lot to these problems. Hopefully now from doing problems in 7.1 all the way up through 7.5, you got the converting between the different units down. If for some reason you have any other questions or just want to practice some more, just let me know, and we can look at some more. But now we're going to shift a little bit. We're going to go look at temperature now. Still, because usually in the metric system they work off of Celsius degrees, and in the US system we work off of Fahrenheit. So let's look and see how we would convert between the two different types of measurements in temperature. Alright, so here we have two pictures here. The first one is how the metric system in Celsius relates to our Fahrenheit. And if you just look at the chart here that we have, so just look at this chart here, you notice that the temperatures are different. So for instance, it said water boils at 100 degrees Celsius where it boils at 212 Fahrenheit. So there's a big difference, as you see, between these two. And so Um, um, it's good to know how to convert between the two. And now if you look down at the bottom here, if you notice here, we have these two formulas, and one is converting from Fahrenheit to Celsius, the other one is converting from Celsius to Fahrenheit. And so these are the two formulas that we're going to use in converting between the two different types of temperature. So let's go ahead and let's start looking at some examples on how to do that. All right, guys. So in this problem, we want to convert 68 degrees Fahrenheit to Celsius. So we're going to use the second formula that was in the chart. So Celsius is equal to 5 times your Fahrenheit degrees minus 32, all that divided by 9. So all we have to do is we just take our 68 and we plug it in for F, and then we just solve. So we get 5 times F minus 32, well, that's 68 minus 32, all over 9. Now we've got to remember our order of operations, so we've got to do what's in parentheses first. And so that gives me 5 times 68 minus 32 is 36. So 5 times 36 all over 9. Okay. And now we just want to, there's a couple of things. You can simplify here, you can multiply, but if you just multiply this out, you get 5 times 36 on top. So that gives you 180 over 9. And then if you just divide 180 by 9, you wind up getting 20 degrees Celsius. And so 68 degrees Fahrenheit is equal to 20 degrees Celsius. All right, let's try one more together. All right, so now in this one, we want to convert 15 degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit. So now we're going the other way. So we're going to use the other formula, which was Fahrenheit is equal to 9 times my Celsius degree divided by 5, and then plus 32. Okay, so again, all we're going to do is first we're just going to plug in whatever our Celsius degree is. In this case it is 15. So we get 9 times 15 over 5 plus 32. Again, make sure you follow your order of operations. So if we do 9 times 15, we will get 135, and then if we divide that by 5, this comes out to be 27. So we get 27 here plus 32. And now we just add those two values together and we wind up getting 59 degrees, and that is Fahrenheit. So 15 degrees Celsius is equal to 59 degrees Fahrenheit. So again, you want to make sure you're using the right formula. Okay, so once you got your right formula, it's really just a plugging in and solving it out, which we've done plenty of times already. So again, make sure you're getting plenty of practice of these in. If you have any questions over converting between the two different types of temperature, please don't hesitate to ask me, and I'll be glad to go over some more example problems with you.